All right, hey ladies, Melissa here. I have a little bit of a sore throat, just coming down with something, but I am resting today, so I will be back on my feet. Um, so last night I took a 2.5 hour test. I think I did well. I think I'm good. I wanted to talk about letting God fight for you. So I have this sisterhood around me. And one of the girls I had talked to before about my husband, she was like, he better not even show his face here. She's like, that effing, blah, 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 blah. What a jerk. And so I was telling some of the girls last night about what happened with my husband. And, I don't know if it's like the Hispanic women that are really cultured or, spicy. I don't know what you want to call it. But I had some of the women, there's women in your life who speak into your life, right? Some of them are like, oh, your husband's just a big teddy bear. He doesn't know how to express himself. Um, a lot of that is excuses. So you learn, like my mother, she took a lot, and I don't know why. I think maybe because my grandmother and my grandfather had annulled their marriage. So my mother is like the only one who stayed in her marriage out of like every aunt and uncle I have. I mean, most of them were married 2 or 3 times, right? So she stayed in it and just stayed in it through the good and the bad. And I think sometimes we can take that too far. I mean, like my father growing up, he would, throw me, pull my hair, etc. I would never put up with that from a guy, never. So I'm different than my mother. There is a lot I will not put up with where years ago a woman would be like, um, they needed the money from their husbands. We're not like that anymore. We don't need his money. They felt like their community was watching them, so they had to stay with this man. And even if they're abusive, they would stay with men. And I'm not somebody who really feels like I have to put up with stuff. I've always had a strong sense of myself. So that's not bad. And I'm not talking about being selfish, but I'm talking about a strong enough sense of yourself to know um, what you believe so that you can take care of yourself in life. So one of these women was just like, "What? What did you just say?" She's like, "Your husband did this." She's like, "That effing you know what, and that mother you know what, and he better not even show his face." She's like, that effing, that, I mean, like every word, she's like, "You go get everything you can out of that ass, extra, etc., etc." You get the point. So, more boundaries. You do not want to have to put up with a guy who is mistreating you. You don't. I mean, why would you do that? And sometimes, you let God fight for you. You can pray and say, "God, you take care of this. You fight for me," and he will. But at other times, it's great to have other women, a sisterhood or motherly woman, continue to mother you as you are older. You should always have women around you. And these women are like, "You know what? I would never put up with that from my husband. I would never, ever, if he ever tried it, he can go get a younger girl. He won't get any money from her, but he better think twice, and he's going to pay me for maintenance the rest of his life." And I mean, there are women out there who won't put up with stuff. And it is so healthy to see women stick up for you and have a tribe of women being like, just strong. Like, especially if you had like a passive mother. Mine was very passive in some ways, but aggressive in other ways. So it's great to see, a lot of women just being like, "I would never put up with this from my husband." And, I had got, I think of it as a ministry. I just ministered to him. And this is why it probably doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me at all. I went to a divorce care group and I'm like, why doesn't this bother me? I probably have already grieved it. I'm done. And, it was just ministry. I mean, I remember his company burning down at one point, his mechanic shop, and all his tools were burnt, right? So I went and had all the receipts from his tools and got him all new tools. So they were craftsmen, and he is selling stuff left and right to take care of himself while that's my property. So it's great that I am a minimalist and I don't really worry about money. I mean, I really don't. It comes or goes. I had a lot of stuff in life. My mother brought me a ton of stuff. So I'm not somebody who has come from poverty and I feel like, oh, I can't go without money. I actually do very well without money. But she's like, he is taking all your stuff and he's selling it. She's like, that's supposed to be split. And she just is like this mother bear with me. And I so appreciate women like this. So let God fight for you, ladies. And if he sends other women in your path who are like, you need to get on this and you need to deal with him, and let them talk into your life and strengthen you and add those boundaries more, because the guy just basically crapped all over you after, in my marriage 31 years, for his own selfish desires and wants. So let others fight for you too.